So it being after 4 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting of the Gardner Elementary School Committee to order. Mr. Hammond, Dr. Hammond, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Mark Pellegrino,
Present.
Wayne Anderson,
Present.
Robert Hankinson,
Present.
Jennifer Plavin,
Present.
Bob Schwartz,
Present.
Mark Hawk.
Present.
I also show here Alan Minkus, Tim Alex, Kristen Winsett, Brenda Smith, Matt Dunn, Josh Cormier, myself. Did I miss anybody?
Present.
Thank you. I got you. Okay, we have a quorum. We can proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Can we look at the bills and
The minutes.
bills? I think that's first. I'm actually looking up my agenda. My apologies.
I'll approve minutes. Motion to
Approve minutes,
approve
thank you.
minutes of February 2.
Do I hear a motion to approve minutes?
2022. So done. So made.
A second.
Excellent. Thank you. Can Dr. Hammond, would you mind calling a roll call vote?
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
We have a vote.
Excellent. What's next on the agenda? Because I can't seem to find it.
We have bills and orders.
Colliers, Jones Witsit, Allied Testing, yeah, bills.
We have bills. The only ones we have for this group would be Allied Testing for $465 and Intertech, however you pronounce that name. If somebody help me, it's for $2,750. And I believe they were involved in testing, am I correct, Tim, testing the windows?
Yes, they do performance testing, whereas Allied does pretty much static inspections of installed work.
So we have those two for $465 and $2,750.
Move to approve.
Second.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Bob and Bob. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion on the motion, can we call the matter to a roll call vote? Dr. Hammond?
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
It's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Hammond. Now a report from the OPM.
Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, so again, our budget and what we're really tracking here is how much of the budget column A here has been invoiced to date. How much is yet to be invoiced but encumbered, and then really we're trying to get down to is what's the net reimbursement, what's the net cost to the city after reimbursement from the MSBA. So in scrolling down, again, our budget was just under 90 million, 89.5 million to date, or at least through March 1st. We had encumbered 42.2 million, or paid that amount of encumbered of 73.5. But of the 42 that was paid, we were anticipating that 26.2 would be reimbursable.
Can I just add, excuse me, I'm sorry. Can people put their things on mute, please? If you're not speaking. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. So of the 26.2 that we're anticipating being reimbursable for from the MSBA, of that we would get just under $21 million back. So 21 million back of the 42 that's spent. So roughly a 50% reimbursement to date is what we're anticipating. So as you'll recall, way back when we were in the early stages of design, the city's reimbursement rate is up almost near 80%, but that's of eligible costs. So we knew that we weren't getting 80% of the total back. But we anticipated that it would be a roughly 50-50 split, and that's kind of about where we are. As we go further in and don't spend all different line items, you know, the amounts will vary, but so far right now we're on track. We're where we thought we would be. Also wanted to pull up our budget just so you could see just so you can see where we are with contingency.
Yep. Could you make that a little bit bigger, please, Tim?
Sure.
Thank you.
So this again is our budget. This is where we're tracking some of our what's been paid, unpaid, what's planned but not yet contracted, and what, if anything, we have as a remaining balance. These are pretty minor, a little over in this advertising line, a little bit over in our printing line. And we'll adjust those with a budget revision request to the MSBA to allow us to move money around, especially as we understand whether or not we're going to need some money in our planned categories. And some of these, we might be able to free this up to offset some of these other items. We always want to try and cover any of these with reimbursable dollars or money from a line that's reimbursable by the MSBA to maximize the grant. But really what I wanted to show by showing this is going down to the bottom, that we have our three buckets, if you will, of contingency funds: our original construction contingency, our owner's project contingency, and then what we're carried down here, which was the bid savings. So far to date, we've expended, I think, about 1.6 in contingency. And really most of that, or all of that, really came from our construction contingency line item. So we had basically roughly $2 million left in that, plus the 1.8 for the bid savings, and then the owner's project contingency, which we really haven't dug into yet. But we anticipate going over a little bit in the furniture, and so that is a much larger deficit in that line item, and we're going to be rolling money from contingency to cover what we're ordering. So we just haven't moved that money yet, but you can see our budget was 1.25 for furnishings and equipment, and also for computer equipment. And as Josh was saying earlier, he's putting together award letters and purchase orders for all of those different vendors. And we'll be tracking all that. You know, here is where we have it set up for all the different categories, the values of those categories, the vendor named, and as the invoices come in, we'll be able to track it this way, so that all those numbers would carry forward onto our summary. But all said and told, we're doing very well. We haven't even dipped into any of the owner's contingency. The bid savings will more than cover what we have on some of the other line items. So plus we have some monies in our, you know, we still have a healthy amount in our regular contingency. So financially, we're doing well on the project. Any questions about the finances or the budget or anything we were anticipating? Okay, Matt, do you want to? I'm not sure if you have anything to go into as far as activities on site, but
Yeah, well,
if not,
let's see.
okay.
Basically, in Building A, they're painting, finished painting now, first and second floor, taping up on the third floor. Floor tile, wall tile in the bathrooms is going in. I would say by next week sometime, that'll be finished. It'll be moving over to Building C, which they've actually started 2 bathrooms in Building C today doing wall tile. Millwork or casework is going in the classrooms. Looks great. They probably have 2 or 3 classrooms complete and 2 or 3 others that are in various stages, along with the window trim. In Building A, ceiling grid is going in now in the second floor for the acoustical ceiling. And I think that's pretty much it for A. Oh, marker boards and tack boards are being installed right now. As well as good news, we got the transformer came in yesterday. So they just trying to connect with the, no pun intended, with the people that pull the wires and do that part of the work. Building B, they are roofing these small roofs that are in the front of the building on the west side, kind of little overhang roofs. They're doing those today. Roughing, electrical roughing primarily on the third floor, second floor. Not a whole lot happening there. First floor, the walk-in cooler, refrigerator cooler, freezer, that's assembled. The roll-down doors were completed today, the 3 going into the servery. Miscellaneous plumbing works going on in the kitchen area. They're spraying the AVB on the outside of the gym today, and they have been a couple days this week. Building C, the masonry face brick is going on in the south elevation. Finishing up on sheetrocking both floors and taping. And next people coming in will be the painters, but there's still a bit of taping to go on in Building C, but they're moving along pretty well. And I think that's pretty much it. Doing good.
Excellent, Matt. Thanks. Any questions?
Inside is good.
Any questions for Matt? Or Tim? All right. Thank you, guys. Moving along to the report from the architects.
I think I can go right into the change orders. Let me just pull this up real quick. I can share screen. Yeah, great. Can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Great. So we had a few requests for some clarifications on the Word document that I sent out, or that Dr. Hemmond sent out yesterday, which is great. I'm always never sure of how much detail to go into. Don't want to overwhelm you, but also want to cover it all clearly. So I've updated basically the Word document that you can see here with a few pictures. But if anybody has any questions, certainly let me know and I can pull up anything else that we can grab. So starting from the top, number 194, this is to modify the landings at stair 1. And so basically what happened is this little piece of steel here down at the bottom that's supporting the stair is preventing the door from opening all the way open. The door will open into that piece of steel. So they're basically just going to cut it back at an angle cleanly, and that will allow the door to open fully, which should not be a problem. So recommend approval on that one. 219 is about the media center shelving. This was after we worked with the district and realized that the number of books was greater than we had originally planned on. And so this is just a view here of the media center. The glass facing the entry is down here on the bottom of the sheet. We had this wall of bookcases here that went up to 5 feet, and we increased that up to 6'4" so that we could fit some more books there. And then we added some shelving over here on the, this is actually the north side, but we'll say plan west side of the library, and then included some more shelving back here that's somewhat related to the circulation desk. And so most of it was, there was some, small electrical that had to move around the room, but most of this cost was for the additional millwork of $19,557. Power for boiler intake dampers, 3 new dampers that required fans for the fresh air intake, specific requirement for the boilers that were submitted on, 3,344. 223 were some pipes from the third floor bathroom. We had thought that we could route those into a soffit that we had planned for in the media center. That's what they had even shown on the coordination drawings, but once we got into the field, there was some conflicts there, so they had to come down in a slightly different location, which was pretty easy to deal with because we were just able to wrap that soffit around another wall for $2,139. Dryer exhaust fan. This is for a stacked washer dryer that's in the pre-K wing, off of a storage room, off of the first floor hallway here. They're going to route the exhaust pipe through a pre-K classroom within an existing soffit that we already have. And it just turns out that that run with the bends in the dryer that's also required to get there is just too far. So they needed an auxiliary fan. So that will be located in the ceiling above one of the pre-K bathrooms. And we'll just kick on when the dryer kicks on and help exhaust that air out the building. $1,499. 228 was a guardrail at A-wing parking, and I think that we talked about this long
Yes.
ago.
Yes, we did.
And it's just now coming in for pricing, and so this is for kind of the northern end of the parking, and we had a curb there, but it just felt a little bit safer to also include a guardrail, and so that's $10,393. Standpipes, this is in the second floor of the B wing. This is for the fire protection system. And there's a standpipe that was in a custodial closet, had to be relocated because of conflicts with structural steel, and also a mop sink that moved around in that room. And so a change for this one for $3,822. I just did put in a note in there in that I do think the sprinkler contract has made other changes around the building and has not asked for a cost increase on those. They've been very good to work with. So I just wanted to note that. Tile edges at the K windows. So this is a very specific condition in the group bathrooms of the A wing. We have about, maybe 10 windows across the 3 floors for both the boys and the girls bathrooms there. And this again was just something we caught in the field, and seeing it, the relationship between the tile and the hardwood jam return was a bit more complicated than we had realized. And then also it just made a lot more sense to do a tile return at the top. And so for this new metal transition piece that they're putting around the edge here, and the tile going into the top of the window, is a change of $3,429 for all of those small windows in the bathrooms. 231 is for a smoke seal coating at beam to roof. And this is a picture I took, and you can't really see it in this picture. But we had specified a material to go in between this beam that's running across and the deck that's coming down from the roof. This is actually a slightly different condition. They did it in a condition that will eventually be covered with a drop ceiling, just to test it. But it's very similar to what the final, this will just be an acoustic roof deck at the top, so it looks a little bit nicer than what's shown in this picture. The original material that we specified, they stopped making, unfortunately. It was a white insulation material. So they put in a mineral wool insulation, and then we're going to paint it, and no upcharge for that painting. But unfortunately, it just looked not so great, very rough. And so if they sprayed it with their smoke seal that they're using elsewhere in the building anyway, it came out looking much nicer, and it also locked that insulation into place because it basically expands and creates a seal all the way around it. So that's for both the A wing and the C wing in quite a few different locations for $3,888. 232 was a tricky area in that this is up at the 3rd floor of the A wing. And so what happens in this space is that it's open to above, and we have a clear story window coming out, What's not shown in this picture right here is that eventually we will have framing going over all of these pipes that are here in this angled fashion that you can kind of see on this detail over here. And that's because we have a bathroom that's tucked into a classroom, but with where our structural steel was farther along, we wanted it open to above. So they unfortunately came in and hung all of the plumbing lines from that roof above, and there really wouldn't be a way to install this smooth sheetrock ceiling element with all of those cables protruding through it. So we're going to support all of those pipes from some additional framing within this kind of concealed triangular area. And that way we can get rid of all of these wires hanging down from the ceiling. And that will support all of the HVAC ducts and pipes going through that area. So that's a change of $10,888. Most of that cost is for the additional framing that's going in here to help support all those pipes. And then a little bit of that cost is for the plumber and the HVAC contractor to change their approach. For 233, we were talking with the contractor in the field, and it just made sense to bring out the face of our sheetrock about an inch into the C-wing corridor, and then we can avoid some of the conflicts that we were going to have with the beams going across. This is also where we'll have some of the vinyl graphics. So we have a depiction of a tree coming up through this opening in the floor level and coming up into the space and kind of spreading across where these clear story windows are. And so we're basically just going to fur out the sheetrock where that red crosshatch area is about 1 inch. And so that extra framing is $2,469. The corner diffusers have been a bit of a challenge, and we'll have another change order coming for them. We're going to have to build some little sheetrock triangular plinths for them to sit on so that we can have some of the piping go underneath them. But there were a few areas where the electrical was going to conflict with where those corner diffusers were going to go. We changed some of the chases you can see down here in the orange paint. We were going to have a chase that was much larger. We reduced that. So we really worked with the contractor to minimize the number of conflicts possible that were possible. So it was good that we went through that process. Matt tracked Griffin's time, or they tracked it and submitted to Matt their time on changing some of these outlet locations, and it all looked good and matched up. So the change for just the electrical portion of this is $1,816. Next one, 235. The last one is for cabinet access for fin tube for the controls for the fin tube hot water radiant system. And so basically we're going to cut a small rectangular hole in the back of the casework that will have a panel on it. It will be hidden behind the casework doors, but it does happen in quite a few locations. We've done it before where you've lifted this grill off the top and reached your hand down there to adjust it, but that has not worked that great. And so this solution seems like a much better long-term solution for maintenance on the building over the years. So a pretty simple fix, but because this happens so many times, 65 times, the total comes to $6,291. So the total for all of these PCOs altogether, which would be included in change order number 14, comes to $71,237.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I understand now.
No problem. I appreciated that Bob submitted some questions just for some clarifications, and it is much more easier to understand with some pictures, that's for sure.
Yes.
Are there any
Clears-
questions?
Clears
I'll make a
questions
motion
up.
to approve.
Motion made. Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second. I'll second.
Excellent. Any discussion on the motion?
Good job.
Hearing no discussion. Dr. Hemmond, would you call the matter to a roll call vote? You on mute? You're
I
on
gotta
mute,
get off
Steve.
mute. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got, thank you. I followed your instructions about on mute. I gotta get
It's
off.
not a Zoom meeting if somebody didn't forget to take themselves off mute.
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
yes,
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk. It's a vote,
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. It's unanimous. Motion passes. Next thing is old business, new business,
I
or
have
other
some-
business.
I have some
Go
new
ahead.
business, Mr. Chairman.
Very good.
I've been working with the architects and talking about the plaque that we have to do, and I want to show you the first rendition of the plaque. And before I pick it up, I want to indicate what we did is we had people on the plaque that had made decisions voting to have this school built. So with that, can I share, will I be able to share?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So is it a chair?
Take a health and wellness break on Zoom.
That's what's
Because that's what I
showing?
see. Yeah.
Hold on, let me stop sharing.
I can also pull it up, Steve, if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead, pull it up.
Okay.
That looked like a very relaxing video, though. I may go to that later on. Thank you.
What an odd plaque.
So what we worked at on the plaque is that Mayor Nicholson is the day when he's elected. The day Mark Hawk was involved with the process and Dr. Pellegrino. And these are the current members of the building committee alphabetically. And I will add before we'll go back and check everybody's spelling at least 3 times. Then this is the members of the school committee in 19 who were voting to approve the project and move forward. And this is the members of the city council in 2019, was in the fall, that voted for the funding for the school. So, and then we picture down here, Jones Architects, myself, Coggers, and Bacon. So that's what we had come up with for a plaque to be put up. Want to make sure this is the first time pass it by the subcommittee. We'll take it to the full committee the next meeting. We want to make sure everybody's okay with this. And do we leave anything out or anybody out, or what, comments on that? So that's what we have at the moment.
Steve, just one thing.
What are the dimensions of that?
I don't know, ask Christian.
Yeah, I am.
So the plaque is 2'6" wide and 3 feet tall.
Wow.
And it's got a polycarbonate, kind of like a plastic polycarbonate panel on the outside that'll be see-through. It's kind of mounted off the wall just a little bit. And then where you see this black line here, everything inside of that is on etched stainless steel. So it should, and it goes in the towards the vestibule as you enter the building in the B wing.
Should have made it bigger and put it in the art wall place. So Steve or Christian or whoever, I just noticed Ann Hurst. There's supposed to be an E on the end of Ann's name.
That's what we're, thank you. We'll put that in, but we're gonna go check with everybody. I'll talk to city council president and ask her to verify all of that. And then Brenda, if you'd verify with Mark, all of the school committee, and we'll work to make sure everybody on the building committee is correct that we have. So.
Steve, the other thing I'd like to bring up is that we have a mix of middle initials and no middle initials. And so it's just something that I want to bring to your attention to see if we want to include those or not include them, or just leave it mixed.
Well, one of them, we have Scott J. Graves. There's 2 Scott Graves in town, am I right? So that's why we put the J in to signify who that Scott Graves was. So, but what we can do, thank you, Alan, for pointing that out. We can then touch base with people if they want their middle initial or not, they can. I think the only reason the middle initial is to distinguish somebody from somebody else. So That's the only reason he has that. And Nathan, I'm not sure what I picked. So we picked those names off of in September of 2019. These are the people that voted to fund the school. So any other comments? We will then proceed with it, and we'll pass it by everybody. Everybody in the world is going to see it before we have it made. I don't want people walking in and all of a sudden they say something misspelled.
I mean, if we're not being charged by the letter, we could add another A, E, and L in Palella.
That's okay. Let's stay the way we are. Okay,
And-
I just wanted to bring that up to everybody, and then we'll follow through, and I'll bring this up to the thing. Well, do people think on Alan's case that we should look at putting middle initials for everybody, or just stay the way we are? The only reason Scott Grays is because there are two different Scott Grays in town.
I'd kind of like to have my middle initial and to differentiate myself with my son, who is now becoming in the public sector.
Okay. All right, so I will send out to everybody, I'll send something out to everybody and ask you to send back to make sure, say, here's what we have for spelling. Do you have middle initial, please send back, and then we'll update it. So you'll see this again before it goes to be made.
Steve,
Very
the
nice.
the other comment that I had is that we're calling out the people who have doctor, and you don't have that on your name. And I think that'd be nice to have it on your name as well.
Well, that's okay. It's fine with me. Well, okay, we'll see. So,
I'll take a
Thank you.
doctor.
yeah, okay.
Doctor?
Or
Dr. Hall.
We're not doctors.
Yeah.
Glad I'm not sick. All right. Excellent. So that was new business. Anything else for new business, Steve?
Nope, we're all set as far as I know. Can you take that off? Just so we know, just so everybody knows, we're meeting tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon at 1. We have a group of the plan A, B, and C plan of the school. Plan A is to open up. Plan B, if we have to delay plan, there's also a plan C. So we have a working group looking at that, just to make that as a matter of record, that we have that going tomorrow at 1.
And Matt, Tim, and Christian are going to make sure we only need plan A, but we'll plan for B and C. That's fine.
We can all hope. I mean,
You're right.
pray hard.
Any other public, there's no public comment, right? I don't think
No.
Mr. Rockwood's here or anybody else. No. Okay. No need for executive session. Our next official meeting of the group is April 6th, 2022. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Jen
Second.
Flavin said second. And no discussion. Any vote?
Yeah.
What's the vote? All in favor?
Yes,
Aye.
yes. Aye,
Opposed?
aye.
Excellent. Have a wonderful day. Sorry, I'm so discombobulated today. Have a good one, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good one.